Let's start it up here. It is early. It is day 3, quilt market, and I have Natalie and Joel. I'll have them tell you more, but we're going to get this started the right way.
Cheers.
Cheers. Good morning, everybody. All right, you two. Well, it was an honor to meet you a couple of days ago, and you've told me a little bit about what you do, but we've been in a big hurry, so I want to learn more. Can we start with the collective? But before even that, tell me your full names and where you're all from, please. I'm sorry. No, boom, coffee kicked in.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Natalie Crabtree. This is my husband, Joel Crabtree. Him and I are a team of sample makers, pattern designers, pattern formatters. We're kind of the household runs like that. But we're also part of a quilting collective that's based out of Indiana, but we do have, we are in Cincinnati, and then we have a gal in Kentucky. And we're a collective of quilting professionals.
Roughly about, I'd say 10
of us. We are sample makers, pattern testers, tech editors, pattern design, ghostwriting.
Long arming.
Basically from the idea to, basically from the idea to the completion of the project.
What she's politely trying to say is that her and Joel probably assembled 95% of the entire quilt market.
You know what? We've been really busy, and that's a good thing. Like, we've been really busy, but it's invigorating. So, yeah.
That's probably a great lead into my best question, which would be, is that the most exciting part, is taking the design concept and the execution and knowing you have no time whatsoever to do it?
The adrenaline has to kick in, you know, and we've stayed up 1, 2, 3 in the morning. You know, just even for a Rashiyama that's hanging on a wall over there, we stayed up until 3:30 in the morning. And, you know, you're tired, but you just, it's just you know, you run your business and it's just you and you get it done. And then when you're on the other side, you're like, yes, I'm so glad I got that done.
It definitely came in handy since we have the whole collective here for the market. We're all sharing a house. We were able to do that, our Ashiyama quilt, in roughly about 7.5 hours from start to finish, which is great.
Well, and that's how I met you, correct? Is you did an emergency Michael Miller quilt as well.
Yes. Yeah, we basically Wednesday night, we rushed over here. You all were setting up walls. We got the fabric, and then at 8 o'clock, we started cutting.
And that was on Wednesday night?
Yeah.
And
it was done, the piecing was done, the applique was done at 3:30 in the morning, Thursday morning.
oh, let's make that magical like noise together, and we'll float in a picture of the quilt. Are you ready?
Okay.
Oh, beautifully done. Oh, I don't want you to have to run off to your next appointment. If you could just stay and do all the interviews all day, this will be way more fun. So, Joel, were you naturally into quilting and textiles before the collective started? Tell me more about being another male that's into textiles, please.
Well, my mother, she's part of the quilting collective that helped produce the quilt, the Rashiyama quilt. So when I was growing up, my mom would always have done cross-stitching and smocking. So when I was little, I learned how to do cross-stitching. And then as I got older, my mother started doing quilting probably about 25 years ago or so. And so I've always been around it. I hadn't really participated in my mom doing quilting, but then when Natalie and I moved back from Japan, she was looking for a hobby, and so she asked my mom to teach her how to do quilting, and then it's just kind of become a household thing. So if she needs help cutting, she gives me the fabrics and the cutting directions. If she needs, like, you know, help ironing something while she's piecing or whatever she needs, it's a team effort.
When you're a talented piecer as well, you know.
If she says so.
He's modest.
That's a great compliment. Okay, so here's my lesson plan for this interview, though, and it is one of the hardest things to do, receive a compliment. So the technique I want to teach all of you is thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, and here's why, though, because if you don't receive the compliment, then you don't get to get the gift off your shoulders of the compliment, and it's harder to give a compliment than critique anyways, right? So you've worked hard to produce the compliment, so your best way of, you know, is thank you, because I want to start some sort of like 11. I'm into guitars, and you know, the whole spinal tap, it's louder if it's 11.
It goes to 11.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, he knows it.
Yes.
I'm a musician also.
Yeah. So I want to create a company. You can't steal this, anybody. I'm branding this right here.
Yeah.
11. I'm a believer, so rule 11 is love everybody regardless. But also I want to have like a step 11 in all my patterns. It says, please stop going around pointing out the flaws in your work.
Oh, we do. Oh, we do, don't we? Like, you know.
And again, I think it's a way of avoiding the compliment. So you are a fantastic piecer.
Thank you.
I love it. Well done. Well done. But you also had mentioned you were in Japan. What were you two doing out there?
Oh, well, a year after we got married, he applied for the JET program, where basically you teach English to, school children. And he was teaching English in elementary and junior high school. We lived in Kyoto in the Nishijin textile district.
Wow. And is that what kind of got you
Yeah.
excited and inspired at the same time, which came out expired, which we don't want you expired?
I don't want to expire. No, well, I just felt like I just needed something. I looked all around and I saw everybody had something, a hobby, something we're working on and trying to master. I felt like, I have a hole in my. Stephanie, his mom, she was like thrilled, and she went out and bought all these notions, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to like this now because you've spent all this. And my favorite story to tell is, she gave me a binding strip and said, press it in half, and walked away and left me to it, and I literally took it like this, and pressed it in half, and I thought, well, what was the big deal?
This whole thing's a breeze.
I know. I was like, that wasn't that hard, and then she.
Like, what are you doing?
So
she didn't even think about it. She just assumed that, press in half. So
Well,
everybody starts somewhere.
But that helps me in my pattern writing because I've been there. So press the strip to make a skinny, thin strip. So yeah.
Now, I believe I saw you two carrying a child around with you. Did the child belong to the both of you?
Yes.
Okay.
Gwendolyn, she's 14 months.
Obviously, you probably like to travel a lot. Do you get downtime between shows, or as the collective, do you have different events so you constantly have work coming in? Will you get a big break coming up, like a tax accountant would after the season?
Well, I plan to not sew my fingers to the bone, so to speak, within the next couple weeks. But I will be writing, and as a collective, we still have work coming in. We work for Michael Miller. We love working with Michael Miller. We work for multiple companies, and they're always, lining things up for us, which is wonderful. I don't think we'll have much of a break. Joel and I are lucky enough to go back to Japan in October for just a visit. That's
I'll
just.
stop you there. We got Bob yesterday. We'll do them today.
We are open for business.
Thank you, Bob. So you're saying you get to go back to Japan?
Yeah, we're going to go back for a visit for vacation, and that's in October. So we're really looking forward to just regrouping, getting some inspiration and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Now, okay, last question before we get you into the mystery box of questions is, I assume because you're working in a top secret environment, because all these fabrics and all these patterns are completely unseen, is it harder to quilt and sew in one of those giant white suits, that keeps all of your DNA off of the information?
It's challenging not to, shout from the rooftops like, oh my gosh, look at this fabric line, that's challenging. I'm kind of, you wouldn't know right now, but I'm kind of like, kind of a hermit, I'm like in my studio, like in my zone. And we're in Cincinnati. We're not a part of the whole, we're not in Indiana with the collective. So, but it is hard not to share on social media. Look at this quilt I'm creating, or, look at this piecing, or look at this block. And
Ends
that's
up being
kind
a
of
lot
hard.
of group texts where it's like, look at this fabric I'm working with, or oh my
Yeah,
gosh, look at
'cause
the
the
thing I
code-
get to work, I get to
Yeah.
design.
Yeah, you get to share it within your team,
Right.
but that's it.
Right. So we'll kind of cyber quilt, we
Sure.
call it. Yeah. So.
Right on. Are you ready to get into the mystery box? I know you have an appointment you need to get off to.
Well, I'm a little nervous, but let's go.
Well,
for it.
I believe it's been fun so far, at least for me anyways.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
All right.
although the rules are the two guests will both pull a question now and both
Okay.
get to answer your own individual questions because you're both individuals.
All
Okay, I'll go with right next to you.
All right, so we're going to start. We'll let you may choose who goes first on the questions.
Okay. Which pre-cut would best describe you and why? Fat quarter, charm pack, square, or strip roll? Gosh. You know what? You might have to go. I got to think about this.
I'm gonna have to trade with you because this
Oh.
applies to you.
Oh, when was the last time you had your sewing machine serviced? Oh my God.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is humiliating. I'd like to say within the last year, but I think it's been more than a year, sadly.
You know, it's bad when we
Aftermarket.
can't remember because I'm the one who usually goes to drop it off.
Right.
So
Aftermarket, it's happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you're both firm believers it should happen eventually.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
it
it-
needs
it
to
has to.
happen. She's
It has to.
my sewing machine's crying out for help
Right,
for
right.
sure.
Okay, so but that means now, Joel, which pre-cut best describes you, sir? I have one in mind.
I would say strip rolls because I'm long and lanky.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ah,
Yeah, we have a winner. All right. Hey, you guys, thank you very much. Take a moment, plug your collective one more time, please.
Yeah, we are You can find us online. We also have an Instagram page at Quilting Collective. Check us out. Give us a like.
Right on. For being here. We'll see you in the next interview.